called Seal.
A beautiful close-up picture of the seal. If it had a fish in its mouth or something like that, it would lift it. Okay? The story needs to be strong, and I imagine the club will be looking at tonight's entries for inter-club competitions and things like that. Okay, so it's going to become important in terms of competition with other clubs. And yeah, this one is a great picture of the seal, but it's not really strong as a nature subject.
Peacock.
Again, I'm looking for the relevance, the story. It's a great picture, and I'm sure the photographer went to some trouble to capture it. For nature, it's not up the top runners.
Red Arrow Dragonfly.
A beautiful picture of a dragonfly. Have a look at it later if you can. The depth of field is beautiful. The whole dragonfly is beautifully sharp and detailed. And I can't see a strong story there. Okay, yes, a reed like this is where you're likely to find them. And if they go out early morning, their wings and body will be covered with water droplets and can look really good. But not quite as far as nature's concerned. It would do very well in open.
Variegated Fairy Wren.
I hesitate to be rude because these things are very quick moving. They live in my backyard and I'm flat out getting a decent photograph of them. Okay, so they're not easy, but it really is that proverbial bird on a stick. I'm sorry.
Brown Falcon.
That falcon, it's a beautiful photograph of the falcon. It really is. If it had a rabbit or something like that, or a rat or something, in its talons, there'd be a story. If there was another one there, a mate, there'd be a story. Okay, you're getting the pattern of what I'm saying.
Keep away from my nest.
Now, yes, the stare is very strong, but it's not enough. The title cannot carry your photograph. Okay? There needs to be a strong story associated with it.
Norfolk Island Tropic Bird.
Similar, another example of a beautiful photograph of this bird in flight. It's close to where the type of environment where I would expect to see it, but I'm looking for some interaction or some story to go with it.
Punk bird.
Nice photograph, dip close up, and you know, it's technically superb, but it is a picture of. Okay, and in this club, you're going to be looking for a bit more than a picture of anything in this any category.
Carpet python.
Now, I did accept this one because what it's doing with its tongue out like that is tasting the air, and it's a sensory organ, okay, as well. So there is a bit of a story in there. Good composition on a diagram, and a very shallow depth of field shows it to advantage.
That's a merit for Jason Clark. Feeding frenzy.
Shark has a fish and a fish all around it. There's a story. Okay, this is what nature is all about in terms of Camera Club definitions. Okay, we all know that, you know, all these animals and birds are natural. We haven't, you know, not man-made or anything like that, but that fits the definition.
That's a merit for Yvonne Hill. Double-eyed fig parrots eating figs.
Good story. It's simple. Shallow depth of field keeps the background simple. We can see what the bird's doing. He's a messy eater. They make a hell of a mess when they eat. They tear your tree to bits and leave branches and bits on the ground, but that illustrates the point.
And that's a merit for Craig Barr. Colourful glossy ibis.
Preening is a part of what birds do. So there is a story here. It's preening to keep its feathers flight worthy. Technically, it's very well done. There's enough depth of field to render the whole bird nice and sharp, but the background does not intrude.
And that's a merit for Leslie Vickers. Look at this one, the picture's about to fall out the frame. Splashing about.
Who's seen ducks flapping about like this? Everybody? Just about. Yeah, it's exuberant. They make a big splash when they land. Sometimes just spontaneously they'll flap their wings and create a stir. And that's part of their natural activity. So that was acceptable also.
And some merit for Gail Bryant. Percy and Little Mate.
This is very unusual. You probably can't see it from where you are. But there's a pelican up here on the branch and a cormorant down here. Cormorants usually live up there on the branch. So he's taken the cormorant's posse. And there's a little bit of rivalry going on. So it's birds of a different species interacting, and they're very aware of each other. So it works.
And that's a merit for Leslie Vickers. All seeing.
This one got a flag also because you've got a group of birds all together, interacting, and that's part of what the definition is all about.
That's a merit for Howard Baker. Egret Freeney.
I fell in love with this one. It's beautifully done. Beautifully done. I'm not sure whether this is a nest area or not, but they quite often will stand up on a mound like that, and the maker has caught it so beautifully. Fill the frame, and the detail is just wonderful.
And that's an honour for Gail Bryan. Fly on Flower.
Well, for me, that was unusual. Okay. Now, what made it something better than a picture of? Well, when you look closely, you can see all the pollen over its legs and body. So it's become an honorary bee. And that's the story, because the next flower it goes to, it'll take the pollen with it. So there's a nice story in there.
And that's an honour for Rochelle James. The Hand That Feeds Me.
Now, the maker here has used blur quite creatively. And what did I interpret from that? I interpreted fear versus avarice for food. And the avarice won, but I'm not hanging around. And that's the story.
And that's an honour for Craig Barr.